You can't control what's happening around you. You can't control what other people say. And that's part of confidence, is knowing what can you control and what can you not, and focusing it all on what you can. But don't be the bully in your own head. Hey everybody, it's me, Coach Rebecca, and I'm going live today to talk about bullying. And I've been doing this in my group trainings in PerformHappy the last 2 weeks, really talking about how to handle conflict on the team. And I got inspired. So last week on my group training, we talked about conflict with teammates. Tonight, we're going to talk about conflict with coaches and how to speak up for yourself. But today, I want to talk about bullies. And I would like for anybody who's on here live who has experience with a bully in your sport to chime in. And I want you to think about what is the most mean or annoying thing that someone has ever said to you in your sport. Okay, and just type some of those in. So I've got some examples here. Things like, why can't you do that skill? It's so easy. Or what score did you get when they know that you fell 3 times? Or you're too old to make it to college gymnastics. Or wow, you're only a level 5? Oh, I'm a 7. Oh my God, that was so bad. You don't deserve that score. You didn't even hit. Coach doesn't like you. You're holding the team back. That's embarrassing. You're so bad at beam. It's so yucky, right? Just even listening to it. These came very easily to me to write down this list of things a bully might say. And feel free to chime in any that I missed here, or some of the more terrible things that you have heard said to you or around you or by a coach or by a teammate. And I want to talk about how to deal with that. And just think like, what makes your stomach turn? Okay, Amelia says, you will never back tumble. You're too scared. Yep. And when you hear that, okay, here Sophie says, you won't be able to get that skill if you practice it forever. Oof. Yeah. Or start trying harder, or you're not trying enough. You're fat. That's a fun one, right? My coach used to say that. Gotta love people who think they're being helpful. Yeah. So you need to lose weight, which in the 90s was like pretty common, I would say, that coaches would talk about, but I mean, it's not gone today. So any of those kind of like bullying comments that you get from coaches or teammates are pretty awful, right? Like, what does that do to your confidence? What does that do to you feeling like you're worthy? Okay, you should find a new sport. And I hear some stuff, you guys, when I talk on consultations with athletes who are struggling with confidence, they say things like this, like that's the type of thing that their coach would say. And how helpful is it, right? It just makes you feel like worthless. And some of these things that people say to you are in your head until adulthood, let me tell you. Now, here's the twist. Some of these are things that people have said to you, but what if I told you, even if you're like, wow, that's so harsh. No, nobody would ever say that to me. What if I told you that most of us have a bully on our team and it's inside your own head, but we also talk to ourselves that way. So a lot of us can relate to a bully, but I bet most of us can relate to having that voice in your head. Now, why can't I just go for it? I'll never be as good as her. I'm too tall. I always mess up. Imagine if someone talked to you the way that you talk to yourself. It's actually usually worse what we say to ourselves than the people around us. Now, of course, if we have people around us saying things like that, then that definitely will increase the likelihood that we will be negative with ourselves. But this is something you can control. You can't control what's happening around you. You can't control what other people say. And that's part of confidence, is knowing what can you control and what can you not, and focusing it all on what you can. But don't be the bully in your own head. So that it's going to be the loudest voice you hear. So imagine, if someone talked to you the way you talk to yourself, would they be your friend? Would you trust them? And if the answer is no, then it's going to be really hard to find self-trust when you're talking to yourself that way. So now I'm going to go back to kind of bullying theory. And I interviewed Professor Jaime Hamilton months back, who is a bullying communication expert. And I was like, Jaime, what do we do when there's a bully around, whether it's a bully in real life or it's you in your own head? And one of her favorite things, which I love this, and I tell my kids to do it, and I tell my clients to do it, is if you have, this kind of power dynamic of someone who's, trying to be in power and looking down on you and going, you are not good, or, any of that stuff. The last thing you want to do is try to overpower that, because then it just becomes this retaliative thing. If you're like, no, you are, it doesn't do anything. What you instead want to do is interrupt the pattern. So you're interrupting that pattern of they look at you and go, oh my gosh, you're still on that part of the warm up. And then what you do is instead of going, well, at least I'm not too tall, which just creates this whole drama that nobody feels good. You look at them and you go, pineapple pancakes, and then you go chalk up. And I know this sounds totally crazy, but when you give them a nonsense word, it interrupts that one up, one down, and it just stops it. It shuts it down. And my husband has done this with his boss who was texting him like, oh, are you still sick, you little princess? Because he had called in sick, which was like totally legitimate. And he's like, what do I even say? I'm going to say pancakes. He literally texted his boss, pancakes. It shut it down. No more comments about it, no more hazing. And my kids have done this when there's a bully in their class and they just come up with whatever. So you guys tell me in the comments, what are some nonsense words you can say? Like my daughter said something like, the deer has antlers, and then walked away. And this person was so stunned and it actually kind of like made her mad because she didn't get a rise out of my kid. And that was it. That was the end of the bullying. And actually, they're totally friends now. She just stopped it. So this can apply to real life conversations that are happening, and it can apply to yourself. So when you catch a bullying thought coming in of, I'm so bad, what's wrong with me? Every time I get up, I go, oh, I'm so horrible. The second you catch that bully, you go, pancakes. And then you just try to find what's the next thing I can do that's going to make this better. Okay. Diana says, wait, that's actually so smart. I know. I was like, really, Jaime Hamilton, that's the thing you do? And she's like, yep, that's it. You can say pass, or you can say no thanks, or you can say a nonsense word. And you can do this with your own negativity. So you feel it coming up, you hear it, you're like, oh, I'm so horrible. And you're like, pass. Okay, what's next? And I would challenge you guys to try this. Try this on a human if you get the exciting opportunity. This one says, I almost kicked my bully on his face outside of the gym. See, that's going to cause more problems, right? Chloe usually says, big bombs back, but not for bullies, but for a mind reset when she's gone negative. Yes, sparkly cinnamon roll. Now we're talking. If you throw that back at the bullying, you stop it, you shut it down, and you get a giggle, which is way more productive than being so mad and trying to prove, you are right. So I want to challenge you guys to try that this week. And who can have the funniest one? And to commit, like if you're going to practice today, my word is sparkly cinnamon roll. And if I catch myself being a bully, I'm going to say that to myself. And if I catch someone else, I'm going to say it to them. And that is my, like unicorn floaty. Just let it be the thing you try and then report back, okay? And if anyone is looking for support, beyond my little tidbits here, we have some room for clients right now, and you can catch a free consultation by going to PerformHappy.com/consult. I would love to chat with you and come up with a game plan to have the best season yet. All right, you guys, I'll see you again soon. Thanks for hanging out today. Bye.